Hello, and thank you for watching our pre-recorded webinar on the topic of applying to the European Settlement Scheme. This webinar will cover a little bit of details about the scheme, why it came about, who is eligible to apply, the status that an applicant will receive once they've registered under the scheme, and what an applicant must do in order to prepare for an application, how to use the app, and how to access and share status once it has been achieved under the European Settlement Scheme. This webinar is about 25 minutes long. I hope you enjoy. Firstly, please let me introduce myself. My name is Imelda Reddington. I'm Head of Immigration at Field Seymour Parks, based in the centre of Reading. I joined the firm just over 12 months ago now, and I have over 12 years experience in the field of immigration. Field Seymour Parks, it's a full service law firm. We have over 100 staff and we service clients all over the UK. Many of our regular clients are based in the Thames Valley corridor. At FSP, we offer a tailored approach to our client, primarily offering practical legal advice. We also offer a range of free seminars, webinars, podcasts at regular intervals throughout the year. And we also offer bespoke training and workshops for complicated processes such as right to work compliance audits, and we offer a sponsor license administration service which assists registered sponsors manage their duties associated with sponsoring migrant workers in the UK. So let us look at what the European Settlement Scheme is. Well, the European Settlement Scheme is a body of legislation that replaces European law. However, it currently sits alongside the European law in our UK national law. The European regulations will continue to operate until the 31st of December 2020, which is the end of the transition, and then the European Settlement Scheme will take over from that point, so roughly the 1st of January. Applying to the scheme will ensure that the rights of European nationals residing in the UK will be maintained as if we were still part of Europe. So applying to the scheme is very simple. It's accessed online through an app on a mobile device. I will look specifically at how to use the app on a mobile phone. You'll be expected to scan your face, take a digital photograph, populate information about you on the phone, and upload any supporting documents that you want to demonstrate to your residents in the UK. Now, European nationals who want to stay in the UK beyond the 31st of December it's mandatory, they must register under the scheme before the 1st of July 2021. And European nationals who are already in the UK with a status under European law, which could be a registration certificate or a permanent residence card, they too must swap that status for a status under the European Settlement Scheme. So who should apply? Well, European nationals and Swiss nationals, together with their family members, can apply. Now, Irish citizens are exempt, so they can remain in the UK without having a status under the European Settlement Scheme. Those who are in the UK without a British passport may also apply. Carers of European, Swiss or British minors may also apply. Family members of British citizens who lived in Europe together but returned to the UK to reside may also apply. And those European citizens or Swiss nationals who've had a former relationship while residing in the UK may also apply. And finally, European and Swiss nationals who have a registration certificate or permanent residence card, which is status under European law, must also apply, which will swap their status for what they currently have under European law. Now, just to give you an example and to show you what the residence documents look like under European law, so that you can check if you do have status and know then that you need to swap the status out for the European Settlement Scheme. So on the slide, it shows you 3 examples of stickers that you would often see in a passport. And on the bottom right-hand side, you have a blue card which folds in 3. On the reverse of that card, there's an area dedicated to where one of these stickers would sit. The sticker denotes the type of leave the European national has in the UK. So it could be a permanent residence card, like in the top left-hand corner, or a permanent residence card of an EEA national, or in the third one, it has the residence card of a family member of an EEA national. So your status under European law will be printed on the sticker, which sits in that little blue book. Now note, this little blue book is just for European nationals. I move on to the next slide, which shows a pink version of this card, showing the reverse with the area in the bottom right-hand side where you would find that sticker, or vignette as it's known. And again, this card is only for Swiss nationals. So European nationals will have a blue card and Swiss nationals will have a pink card. Now, please remember, if you do have a card in this format, either a pink or a blue one, you must register for a new status under the European Settlement Scheme. Normally, if you have permanent residence, you will automatically get settled status. If you have a registration certificate, and depending on the length you have it, you may be eligible for pre-settled status or settled status. So which brings me to the type of status you will get once you register under the scheme. There are 2 types of status under the European Settlement Scheme. There is settled status and pre-settled status. You will be eligible for settled status if you started living in the UK by the 31st of December 2020, and you have lived for a continuous period of 5 years. Now, a continuous period means 6 months out of any 12-month period in residence in the UK. There are some exceptions, which I'll cover in a couple of moments. Now, for pre-settled status, you will be eligible for pre-settled status if you're living in the UK for less than 5 continuous years. You need only show presence in the UK, so there's no minimum period you need to be here. You merely must be present in the UK in order to apply. You must start living in the UK by the 31st of December 2020, and you can then apply for settled status once you have achieved 5 continuous years with pre-settled status. Now, the exceptions that I said we consider for demonstrating time out of that continuous period, you will be considered for a single absence of up to 12 months in that 5-year period, provided it's been for childbirth, serious illness, to study overseas, or for some vocational training, or even an overseas work posting. So a single absence of up to 12 months in that 5 continuous period would still mean you could be eligible for settled status. In addition to that exception, if a person can demonstrate that they have been outside of the UK because of compulsory military training, or as a diplomat or a Crown servant, together with any family members, they too can also demonstrate these absences and apply for settled status. So once you have your settled status, what rights will you get in the UK? Well, you can work in the UK without the need to obtain a visa. You can access the National Health Service for free. You can access some public funds or benefits, or even pensions if you're eligible. You can enroll in education to study in the UK, or you can continue with your studies in the UK. And finally, you can travel in and out of the UK without needing to stop at passport control to show evidence of your permission to enter the UK, saving time at the border. Now, what about children and family members of those who have obtained status? Well, for those who obtain settled status, any children born in the UK once you have settled status will automatically be British citizens and eligible for a British passport. For those with pre-settled status, any children born in the UK will be automatically eligible for pre-settled status and will then be able to upgrade to pre-settled status with one of their parents. For those who have settled or pre-settled status, their family members can continue to join them in the UK without any restrictions until the 31st of December 2020, or for Swiss family members that is extended to December 2025. And after 31st December 2020, you need to demonstrate that the relationship began before the 31st of December and that relationship still exists when making an application. So for family members who want to join you as a person in the UK with settled or pre-settled status, that relationship has to have existed and continue to exist at the time the application is submitted. Now, are there any ways you can lose your status? You will lose your status if you spend long periods outside of the UK, but the period permitted depends on the status you hold. So for settled status, if you spend up to 5 continuous years outside of the UK, you will not lose your status. That's reduced to 4 continuous years for Swiss citizens. And for pre-settled status, that's up to 2 continuous years outside of the UK. But for those with pre-settled status, please bear in mind that in order to be eligible for settled status, you still need to maintain residence in the UK. And the continuous period of residence means maintaining at least 6 months in any 12 months to obtain that settled status. Now, these are very generous periods of time permitted, considering currently indefinite leave to remain only permits 2 continuous years outside of the UK before you lose your status. So this is an added benefit to European nationals in particular, who perhaps want to spend a few years abroad and then returning to the UK without worrying about losing their status. So let's now look at what we need to apply and how you can actually make the application using the app on your phone. So before you sit down to make the application, you need to make sure you have a valid passport or a national identity card or a BRP. You will need to be able to access the app called EU Exit ID Document Check on an Android or iPhone 7 or above. Now, 7 is what has the technology. However, the Home Office recommends using an Android 8 phone in order to process an application. You also need to obtain or to have at hand proof of your continuous residence in the UK. So obviously, if you are looking to apply for settled status, you need to make sure you have 5 years residence to hand. If you have your national insurance number to hand, an automated check is carried out against the HMRC records held, and this can provide your status automatically. But if you think you may not have 5 continuous years, then please locate other documents to show your residence. Now, I would recommend documents like P60s, P45s, payslips, or self-assessment tax returns, and then utility bills like council tax bills, or bank statements showing inward and outward transactions on your account. But please note that any documents you provide are only valid for the date of the document. So a P60 is valid for a year, can potentially show your residence for a year, whereas a bank statement for 1 month merely shows your residence for 1 month. So try and collate documents for over longer periods. Right, so making the application. So you need to prove your identity. So you'll need an email address and a phone number, as these are the first aspects of what you will enter in the app. And you need to validate your email or phone number through a code which will be sent automatically so that you can continue to proceed with your application on the app. You will also need your passport, ID card, or a biometric residence card with a readable chip. You need to declare any criminal convictions, and if you want to prove your continuous residence, you need your national insurance number to conduct that automated check. And just bear in mind, before you start the application process, that you do need to provide a photograph and a scan of your face. So if you want to perhaps brush your hair or make yourself look more reasonable, or for a photograph, please do so beforehand, as this is the picture that will sit on your status online, which you can share with employers or landlords at a later date. So let's look at how to use the app. So the app you can download from the Apple Store, the App Store, or Play Store. And the image on the left-hand side is the icon that you're looking for, and it's called the EUSS ID document check. So once you locate it in the store, depending on the device you're using, you download that to your phone. I indicated earlier you need an Android 7 or above with NFC, that's near field communication, so it has functionality to read the chip on your passport, and the same functionality allows you to pay with your phone. And if you want to know whether your passport has a chip in it, the icon that is just below the wording chipped passport on the slide with the circle and the line denotes whether your passport has a chip. So what happens? You've downloaded, you access the app, you're taken through a series of screens. The first screen asks you to take an image of your passport. So you place your passport face down, nice and flat, and you use the camera to take an image of your passport. It can be a little bit fiddly because passports tend to fold back on themselves, so it might take a couple of goes. But if you're successful, your information will be automatically populated as part of your application. Once your information is populated, you proceed to the next screen. The next screen asks you to close your passport, place it flat on a desk, and place your phone over the passport. This is trying to read the chip on your passport, so you may need to move your phone gently across the passport until it finds the information. Again, once the software has picked up the information contained within the chip, you will be told to move on to the next screen. So the next screen requires a scan of your face. So if you hold your phone away from you at arm's length with the camera facing you, you should see on the screen ahead of you a scan image of your face. It will flash until it has completed the full scan of your face and turns green when it's ready. Again, it will tell you if it has scanned your face successfully and ask you to proceed through to the next screen. The next screen it takes us to is to take your photo. Now, in a similar way to the scan of your face, you need to hold the phone at arm's length from you and take a photograph of your face. Obviously, you will need to push the button to take the image, unlike the scanning. So make sure your finger, when you push the button, doesn't block the camera. You can accept pictures if you like them, or you can reject them. Please make sure that the room you're in is well lit so that the image will be accepted by the software. The software does some checks to ensure there's no shadows across your face. I know in the past it's taking a couple of goes, particularly if you're working with walls that are all very similar in colour. So just bear with it and move around to a background that's perhaps a little bit clearer so that you can take the image successfully. Again, as with the other screens, once your photo has been accepted by the software and you're happy with it, you can proceed to the next screen. Now, once you've uploaded your photo, you will then be asked to complete a series of information about you, confirming details about your character, and you will also be required to declare any criminal convictions. Once you've added all of that information to the application on your phone, you can then proceed to the next screen. So you will, if you receive a response to say you'll be considered for pre-settled status, it normally means that the automated check using your national insurance number has said that you have been resident in the UK for less than 5 years. Now, if you disagree with this and you believe you're eligible for settled status, then you have to select the button to say, show I'm eligible for settled status, proceed to the next screen, where you can submit your application, the Home Office is likely to ask you for additional information to show that you have been resident in the UK for 5 years in a row. However, they will specify the periods of time that they need to see that evidence. Obviously, some of the time would have been checked against your national insurance number, but because it hasn't established 5 continuous years, the gaps that the Home Office wish to see will be specified in email communication that will follow shortly after you submit the application. So the next screen, if you've gone through the process and your national insurance number has established that you have continuously spent 5 years of residence in the UK, excuse me, it will say you will be considered for settled status. So you obviously submit the application and wait until the Home Office consider the application and return a response. Now, the response will be received, if successful, by email. There will be a letter attached to an email confirming your status. Now, the letter in itself does not provide proof of your status in the UK. However, there is a link contained within the letter, which if you click allows you to access your online account. Now, please note that in order to access this, you will need the ID document you use. So if you use your passport, you will need your passport number to proceed to your online account. If you use your ID card, you will need your ID number to proceed to your online account. So once you access your account, you will be able to view and prove your status and share it with third parties such as employers or landlords if you're renting a property. Please note the status or the document that you receive is valid only in the UK. And very importantly, if any of your details change from the time you make your application, so if your telephone number changes or your email changes, even your passport or your ID changes, you must access your account and update it accordingly, as these are the details that will be held online that will be accessed as you pass through border control after the 1st of July 2021. And obviously your phone number and email are used to validate that you are who you say you are when you try to access your account. Now, if for any reason you've been unsuccessful or you believe the Home Office made a mistake in your application, you can communicate via the email provided. If you're unsuccessful and you're short in providing evidence to show your residence in the UK, you can apply at any time up to the 30th of June 2021, when hopefully you will have sufficient information to prove your residence. You can appeal a decision if you made your application after the 31st of January 2020, or you can apply for an administrative review chargeable at £80 if you believe there's an administrative error within your application. It's cheaper to apply again rather than pay the administration fee for the admin review. So in some cases, it's just cheaper to apply again when you feel you have the appropriate documents. So finally, I just want to show you what your status looks like. So your status, as I said, is an online status, unless you're a non-EEA national or you have a biometrics residence card. So European nationals will only get an online status and non-EEA nationals will get a card of some description. So this is what your status looks like. It has a picture on the left-hand side. Note this is a picture that was taken at the time you made your application. It will also set out your name and tell you the type of status you have, the details on your rights and what you can do in the UK, and you will be able to access this account and update any information in relation to your personal details. You will also be able to share this information using a code from your account with your employer or a landlord if you want to rent a property. I also recommend that you print a copy of this status and keep it in the back of your passport so that you can show it to a border agent on arrival in the UK from the 1st of July 2021, just in case there are any issues. And please note that there is no requirement to show any document on entering the UK other than your passport or ID card until the 30th of June 2021. Please bear in mind that if you are using an ID card to come to the UK, that these will not be accepted beyond October 2021 unless you have status under the EU settlement scheme. Okay, well, that concludes my short explanation of how to make an application under the EU settlement scheme. I hope you found it useful. However, if you have any further queries or would like to contact me about any information in relation to the content of this webinar or any immigration or Brexit queries generally, my contact details are on the slide with my phone number, my LinkedIn details. And finally, we do have a dedicated Brexit resource on our website, which shares information in relation to Brexit negotiations and the rights and benefits and information for those European nationals who want to continue to reside in the UK after the end of the transition period. Thank you all for joining me. Hope to see you again soon.